Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. Listener writes in and says, I told my girlfriend I wanted a prenup. She said, you have nothing. I said, it's for future earnings. She got pissed and she said, well, I don't want to get married. But then she agreed to sign if I gave her a baby. Damn, Tom. Then I'll be into her 18 to 22 years. I'm confused. Should I have a family or not and be alone? And it is unsigned. I cannot tell what your age is, but I'm guessing you're young. I do not think you're 30. I think you're closer to 20. But what you can see from this negotiation here is that her interest is not in you. It's in money. Money. Like so many women, she wants to lay some of the burden of life on you. She wants you to pay. By the way, just because you don't have some leech of a broad living in your home doesn't mean you're alone. You've got friends. You've got your family. You've got chicks to screw. You are not alone. And just because some broad moves into your house doesn't mean you've got company or security. That broad can stop putting out. She can lie to you and have sex with other people behind your back. She can refuse to do housework or leave the care of the child up to you. So many things can go wrong. Is it really worth it? Take it from me. There is nothing wrong with living alone. Nothing. The problem is being lonely, not living alone. Living alone is the best thing I ever did for myself, ever. And it is not for the reasons you think. It is not because I can screw whoever I want. Nothing like that. More often than not, the reason you want to be alone is to do the things you take for granted now. And if you're still living with mommy, maybe these are things that you've never had the opportunity to do. Some of the things you can do include watch whatever you want on television. Sports, for example. Or not watch television at all. Broads love watching TV. And they like the shows you hate. Makeover shows, entertainment shows, shows about the entertainment industry. Right? Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood, The Insider. Those are the shows they like. You don't watch those shows. You like that as the soundtrack of your life in the background all the time? Chicks expect you to take the majority of the financial burden. Trust me when I tell you, you'll be paying for most of the rent, if not all of it. Most of the electric bill, most of the gas bill, most of the cable bill, the satellite bill. She will want clothes and accessories. Who do you think is going to pay for that? Groceries for one. I don't care what they say. They say two can live as cheaply as one. Yeah, tell that to the supermarket. When she insists on buying things you don't have in your house, like yogurt, or 2% milk, or tampons. If two can live as cheaply as one, you're going to have to cut back in order to accommodate her and her needs. Moisturizers, $10 bottles of shampoo, all kinds of things that you are not buying now. You'll be on the hook for. You can have sex, you can have companionship, you can have friendship, and not have anybody living at your house. That means you can live in a smaller place and pay less for it, lower utility bills, lower grocery bills, Lower phone bills, because she'll no doubt want you to take over her cell phone bill. She'll have you paying for that. Women also are obsessed with buying gifts for every obscure person. Hey, I'm all about buying birthday gifts for my buddies, people close to me. Most chicks I know keep a Rolodex of everybody they've ever known, and then insist on sending cards or gifts to people they haven't talked to in 5 years. You don't do that. There's a million reasons you want to be alone, not the least of which is you don't want to have to answer for your whereabouts all the time. And sometimes your whereabouts are not being out getting laid. Sometimes your whereabouts are as simple as browsing through a bookstore, having a beer with a buddy, going to a ball game, staying late at the office, then going out to watch Monday Night Football. Whatever. Once you take a broad in, she will complain about all of that. Oh, sure, there were exceptions, so all you exceptions to the rule, don't bother calling in, because we know that there are needles in every haystack. But it's a big friggin' haystack, you know what I'm saying? Most of us don't feel like combing through it. The letter writer is, out there. You're right to ask her for a prenup, to tell her you won't marry her without a prenup. Oh, yeah, she'll sign if you give her a baby. You know why she'll sign if you give her a baby? I'll tell you why. Because, as you said, you'll be into her for 18 to 22 years of payments. It's all about money. There's nothing wrong with being alone. I have to imagine some of the negotiations regarding prenups have to be fascinating. I have to believe that because we talk about it on the air so much, that many of you, either because you heard us talking about it, or because you're just that kind of person and you gravitated to a radio show like this, I have to imagine many of you have confronted your girlfriend, your fiance, whoever, with a prenuptial agreement, and have had negotiations like this letter writer. You know, you told her there's going to have to be a prenup. What did she say? How did she respond? Did she say no? Did she stop having sex with you? Did she start negotiating? Have you tried to get her to sign a prenup? Have you told her you won't get married without a prenup? What was the response?
Tom. 1-800-5800-TOM.
I remember you said this once. You said I could fart $3,000.
Yes. By the way, I have a new contract now. I'm farting 5,000 at a time.
Good for you.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show, 1-800-5800-TOM. All right, there you are. You are dating somebody who wants the relationship to get more serious. You've got a girlfriend. You've got a fiance. And you introduced a prenuptial agreement into the mix. What did she say? Dan on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Daddy Leykis. How's it going?
All right, son. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, man, I had this girl. I was going out with her about a year, and we were talking about marriage, and I told her we needed a prenup. She straight up told me no, and I asked her why, and she goes, because, if we ever get divorced or anything, I want half her money.
There you go. Now you know everything you need to know.
Man, I dropped her on her face quicker and rice on the floor.
So she was honest. You were lucky she was that honest.
Well, she come back to me 2 months later. It was about 2 months later, and says, blah, blah, blah. She already had the prenup signed and everything.
What do you mean she had it signed?
She signed the prenup and everything.
Oh, so you'd handed her a prenup?
Yeah. And when she signed it, I was like, okay, cool. I dropped it right on her face. I said, no, I'm sorry. You already told me what your whole objective was.
Right. Plus, by signing it without showing it to an attorney? And without saying in the prenup that it was shown to an attorney, it's entirely possible she could overturn the agreement.
Oh, wow. I'm glad they didn't sign it then.
Also possible an attorney recommended this kind of action.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why prenups are good. You know, you're illustrating this right now. It's because this is the stuff people never talk about before they get committed to each other.
Yeah. I got a buddy that just got married, and he made the biggest mistake of his life. I told him to listen to my dad. Never did. He listened to it once or twice, said this guy was full of it. I said, well, you know what? He's made millions of happy, satisfied men out there, and I will never, never talk bad about my dad.
Good for you.
Hey, last time I talked to you, Tom, it was St. Patrick's Day last year.
Uh-huh.
Can you take me out the same way, Jesus Christ style?
Here you go, Dan. One 800-5800-TOM. It's Will on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
How you doing, Tom?
Doing okay, Will.
I've got to tell you, I'm a law student here in Southern California, and one day I was sitting in class, happened to be surrounded by there's about 10 girls sitting around me. So class ends. I stand up and just making conversation. I asked a couple of them. I said, hey, would you ever sign a prenuptial agreement? You know, assuming they probably would be sort of in a situation where men are, where they have a potential to make a lot of money. So I'm expecting at least some of them to say yes. All of them, without hesitation. No way.
Yeah, well, that's because many women only go to college and have a career as something to kill time until they meet Mr. Right.
Apparently law school, too.
Well, yeah. Oh, believe me, there are women listening to me right now who left the law firm, left the practice, do an occasional project at home while they sit home with the kid burping up breakfast on their shoulders. And they want you to pay for that. They want to leave their options open so you would have to pay.
Absolutely, Tom. I got to be honest, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I thought these women, you know, obviously they're not expecting to make that much money, and they're still expecting to be taken care of for the rest of their life by somebody else.
That's right. That's right. So don't let the fact that they're law students fool you, and this is a very good lesson to the boys out there who say, I don't need a prenup, I'm just going to be a lawyer. What do I need a prenup for? That's why you need a prenup. You're marrying a lawyer? My God. That's when you really need one. Reminds me of a radio station I once worked for. This is absolutely true. Normally, when you sign a new contract, you show it to your entertainment attorney, you show it to your agent, and then it goes to the company attorney or some of their representatives, and you go back and forth like that. Well, I worked at a radio station where the owner of the station was an attorney. And here's what he said to me. He said, here's the beauty part. We don't need an attorney. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Oh, boy.
Hey, I'm going to do that. Yeah, but you can trust me. I'm an attorney.
They're all looking out for their own interests, Tom. Always.
That's right.
Even if they say they love you, they're looking out for number one first.
That's why they want to marry you. That's why it's such a big deal. You know, you can love them without a contract.
That's true.
And people these days have children without contracts. I mean, you can do all of that. Why are women so hell-bent on marriage? Because they want to be able to have their options open for the rest of their lives. And
exactly.
If you decide you're fed up with them being 180 pounds, they can take your money. That's what they want.
Exactly. It's funny to me how eager they are to enter into one contract, but marriage, but refuse to sign another one.
That's right. Well, I could always say, you know, they love to say it's unromantic to sign a prenup. I could always say...
yeah, Tom, that's the excuse. That's the only excuse.
Unromantic to get down to the Van Nuys courthouse, for God's sake. What's more unromantic to get down to some municipal office somewhere?
That's true. Yeah, that's the only excuse any of them could give me. They're all lawyers. It's the only excuse any of them could give me for not signing a prenup.
Yeah, well, as I always say, you find out how romantic these women are when you leave them. Then you'll see how much romance is involved.
Sure, when they're being upfront with you finally.
That's right.
Yep, exactly, Tom. Keep up the great work. You're doing important work.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. This is Jeff on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
No, this is Jeff.
I just said that.
Okay. Yeah, I've just been listening to you for a week now. I'm up here on a business trip in Seattle from Houston, and you had talked about the prenup. I had, when I met my wife 5 years ago, I let her know that, hey, I don't have any more children, and we're going to have a prenup. And she was agreeable to that all the way up till the night before we were going to get married. Then she wanted to start adding in some provisions in the prenup. And I finally had to get to the point of just telling her, look, either you sign the contract as it is or we're not getting married. And she did finally sign it as it was. But
you know why she did that?
Well, she had no choice.
Well, let me write this down for you, and you can put it in an envelope and review it later, okay? She spoke to an attorney.
Oh, yeah.
And the attorney told her, don't worry about signing it the night you're getting married or the night before, because later on, if things don't work out, we'll say you signed under duress.
I'm probably fixing to find out.
I bet you are. I mean, and this is a word of advice. I'm not an attorney, but I've been married and divorced 4 times, and I have done the prenup thing a couple of times. And let me just say this. If a woman refuses to sign, and then she agrees to sign the night before the wedding, forget it. The wedding is off, and it's going to stay off until the two of you have negotiated the terms of the agreement. And you are not going to have a date to get married. You're not going to have a wedding date. If you have reserved a room somewhere to hold a wedding, you will refund the deposit. You will give that up. You'll lose that. It's going to be a lot cheaper than ultimately paying her vagina money down the line.
Right.
You will send I'm sorry. You will send I'm sorry letters to the 200 people you send invitations to, and that'll be it. So I hope you never find out if she did talk to an attorney, Jeff, but I tend to believe she did. Any woman that anxious to sign the night of the wedding, yeah. Cyrus on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Cyrus. Are you on a speakerphone or something?
No, I'm in an echo box. I'm in a mastering room right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry about that. Listen, you're like my long-lost uncle. My father preached the same thing to me, and thank God I listened to him. I dated my high school sweetheart for 8 years. She was telling me, oh, honey, I love you. Oh, I want to marry you. Okay, here's the prenups. I got properties. My dad was in real estate. I knew I was going to get them. Sign the papers. Why are you going to make me sign them? You don't love me? You don't trust me? I tell you what, you sign them and show me you love me, and I will take care of you.
While we're together.
To sign them.
Uh-huh.
So you know what I did?
Did you DTB?
I dumped that bitch.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. I have a wife. We have 3 children together. The minute I told this woman I need a prenup, she said, no problem. She takes care of me. She takes care of my kids. That's what it comes down to. If they love you, they'll sign it.
That's right.
If they know you're going to take care of them.
Right. But this idea of taking care of somebody, let me make this really clear. And anyone who disagrees with this, I'll take them on head on. I will take care of you as long as we're together.
Exactly.
If we are not together, if you leave me because you need some space, or if you leave me because your high school boyfriend came back out of hiding,
pay your own way.
Right. I am done taking care of you.
No
this idea that you have the right to become accustomed to the lifestyle you have with me is outrageous.
Exactly.
My prenups have said, point blank, that the person I was marrying had no right to expect to continue this lifestyle beyond the length of the marriage.
Exactly.
It said it in there. So there was no misunderstanding. You are living this lifestyle while we are together. If you pork up and refuse to lose weight, if you stop having sex with me, if you stop getting naked for me, if you start having lots and lots of male friends and going out till 3 in the morning, guess what?
You're out.
This lifestyle is done, and you are indeed out.
That's right. That's why all these boys need to know, man. I mean, you got to protect yourself. And any business deal you do, you're going to cover yourself.
That's right.
Marriage is business. It's a certificate that just says that you're in business together.
You know, the amazing thing is the amount of time people spend worrying about whether they should buy a particular car or a house. They have all these inspections done, and they get insurance up the yin-yang. Here in Southern California, you get homeowners insurance, fire insurance, flood insurance, earthquake insurance.
Right.
You bring in a geologist. And yet people get married, which is the biggest business decision they will ever make.
Exactly.
And they don't want to have any contracts. They don't want to have any protection in case things go wrong, which half of them do.
Right.
A lot more marriages end up in divorce than houses end up affected by an earthquake.
Exactly. And, you know, me coming from a divorced family, I knew I was going to be a statistic, and I said, I'm covering all my bases.
Good for you.
Quit deeds, prenup, everything.
That's right.
They have to do it, Tom.
Well, they have to do it or you have to get out, and you did, and I'm very proud to hear that, sir.
I tell you what, and I see her dad and her mom around, they see me, and they want to talk to me about it. I don't care. Let's just talk about what I'm doing.
That's right.
All that matters.
And by the way, how much better is your financial position since the day you put that prenup in front of her?
120% better.
Right. Uh-huh.
I know I could go to sleep at night with the comfort of knowing that should anything happen tomorrow, I own all my properties.
Right.
I don't have to worry about nothing.
Right. I mean, I'm in a position now at 49 years old. I could retire tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow. And I don't have to support anybody else.
All you got to worry about is number one. That's it.
That's right.
You know, and right now, even as it stands, I'm married. I got children. You know what? My kids and me come first.
Right.
Before anybody else.
Good for
you. I need to make sure that they're covered, too.
Cyrus, I'm proud to have you as a listener.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Where are you based out of exactly?
I'm not giving you my address. I'm here in Southern California somewhere.
I don't want anything long-term, Tom. I'm just
really?
looking for a good time.
The Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles, it's the Tom Leykis Show. Thank you for tuning in. Well, we are down to the last 11 days until Boys Night Out in Seattle. A one-night only, really, I think, historic event. And I'm not exaggerating here when I say this because the last time they had this many men in one place, just men, National Coming Out Day maybe, but no, Promise Keepers. I mean, that. Remember they did that at Safeco Field, Promise Keepers, that religious organization? They had all those guys get together. Come on, boys. I mean, you can't even go to a Mariners game or a Sonics game, Seahawks game, without being surrounded by vaginas. You can't. And so we have created a night just for the guys. It's called Boys Night Out. It's coming a week from Friday. Friday, September 30th at 8:30 p.m. at the legendary Paramount Theater in downtown Seattle. For tickets, and I'm telling you, it's me and our headliner, Bobby Slayton, also John DeResta and Steve Brewer, 3 over-the-top comedians who understand the things we talk about on this program. They have their own take on this stuff. And they will say things, and for that matter, I will be saying things that we could never say on this program. Or there wouldn't be a program. I promise you, it's the most outrageous thing you've seen. There's no doubt about it. There's plenty of eye candy there, but just don't bring any broads, okay? Bring your dad, bring your son. Bring your estranged son, bring your cousin, your nephew. Bring the boys from the office. Make a night of it. Take a room across the street and make a night of it, why don't you? Plenty of places to booze in the area right afterwards. We'll be out doing it ourselves. But it's going to be 1 week from Friday, September 30th, 8:30 p.m. at the Paramount Theater in Seattle. For tickets, you can call Ticketmaster at 206-529-4051. That's 206-529-4051. You can go to Ticketmaster.com, or for information about any upcoming Boys Night Out date, you can just go to BlowMeUpTom.com and click on the big, fat, honkin' Boys Night Out logo. And you'll be there, ready to buy tickets. Or you can get them for your husband or your boyfriend. Tell them to take the night off. You know what I'm talking about? From you. 206-529-4051. This Wednesday, a special announcement about the Seattle Boys Night Out. This Wednesday. 1-800-5800-TOM. All right, did you have the prenup discussion? What happened? Jenna on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom?
Yes.
Hey. So, yeah, my boyfriend and I have been dating for about 3 months or so, and when we were talking about the issue of marriage...
You've been dating for how long?
I'm sorry?
You've been dating for how long?
Just over 3 months, not very long at all.
3 months. So getting married is not even in the near future.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But we had talked about, the essential things in the beginning of a relationship, like, hey, you want to get married, kids, blah, 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 what do you want in life? We had talked about a prenup. And what he had said was, before I even get engaged or even thinking of getting engaged, I'm going to make you sign it. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the reason for that? And, I completely agree with it. But I want to know why before an engagement. And the thing is, that what he brought up was that if I go into an engagement thinking, hey, there's going to be no prenup, I'm agreeing to a marriage without it, without a contract. So before he even thinks about buying a ring, I need to sign a paper. And I'm like, I totally agree with you. And you're totally right with the business relationship. You're going into a business together. Without a contract, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure.
That's right.
Regardless of how the relationship is going, nothing is fairy tale. So it's protecting both parties and both families of both parties. I completely agree with it.
Well, anybody who has a problem with a prenup because they say, oh, it's not romantic. What about signing a will? None of us wants to die.
Right, exactly.
And anybody who's ever been through a situation where a family member died and did not write a will and then found out how much the judge gets involved and the state gets involved and how much they take.
Yeah, you have to. I had an ex once who, his grandfather had passed away, and he never set up a living will, and Grandma is sucking up all of it, and don't get me wrong, she's a nice lady, but, she's crazy. Yeah. And, there were certain things and certain restrictions that she should have had, but she didn't. She didn't know how to deal with it. So when he died, there was nowhere for, the money or the cars or, the home to go to. So it's basically up in the air. Without that being said, you have to have a will, you have to have a contract. For any relationship you go through, you have to make sure that you're backing yourself up, because the only person you can trust is yourself.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, you are very level-headed, I must say. Makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you so much for the call.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hi here to... Mike on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
I'm okay, Mike.
Hey, I know this doesn't pertain exactly to the subject, and I talked to Dino about it, and tonight in Seattle, the Department of Health and Social Services, which is who controls the child support laws and regulations, and they put in their 2 cents about how the legislation should be changed about child support. They're having a special session to allow anybody to come in and speak about what future changes will be made to the legislation. And one of the things that's on the table tonight is that they would increase the percentage from 40% of a man's gross income to 65% of a man's gross income for child support.
Wow.
65%. Now, even if you're a man making 6 figures a year, which isn't very easy, there's not a lot of guys making that kind of dough, you're gonna have to find someone to live with. You're never gonna have a life of your own until that child's 18. And even then, in the state of Washington, you're going to end up with what they call continuation support after the child's 18. If they decide to even take 1 credit at college, you're on the hook for 5 more years.
Where are the men in the state of Washington, by the way?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you tonight, 6:30, Seattle Town Hall, every man that's paying child support should be there screaming his lungs out. I'll be there. I guarantee you I'm going to have center stage, Tom. I have got a file folder. I've got a 16-year-old daughter. I've got 2 more years on the hook, I hope. But I've got a 16-year-old daughter. I've got a file as thick as a New York phone book of all the legal BS that I've gone through in the state of Washington. And I'm going to take center stage there tonight, and I guarantee you my name will probably be in the paper tomorrow. If I'm not dragged out of there kicking and screaming off to jail, my name will at least be in there because I took a stand over this state that is so pussified they can't see straight.
Well, now tell everybody where that is again.
It's tonight at the Seattle Town Hall at 6:30, and it's an open forum. Anybody can come. And I'll tell you what, I encourage and almost demand that any father right now, especially a guy that's just getting ready to start child support payments. He's got a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 5-month-old. Get there tonight and voice your opinion, because DSHS is who basically gives their suggestions, and they've got some serious money behind them, because now the National Organization of Women, they are paying off all the lobbyists to push this stuff through, and they've got a big checkbook.
Wow. Well, I hope all our listeners will show up. I hope when they speak out, they will make sure they make themselves known as Leykis listeners.
Absolutely. I hope everybody that's a Tom Leykis listener, whether they're paying child support or not, shows up and just boos DSHS right out of the building.
Tonight at 6:30, Seattle Town Hall.
You got it, buddy. And if you need more information, directions or whatever, it's on BJ Shea's website, which is, I think, thebuzz100.7.com.
1007thebuzz.com.
Yeah, I think that's the site. But, Tom, I want to thank you so much for giving me this forum to be able to put that out there today, because I'll tell you right now, the men in Washington State are in for a huge rude awakening if DSHS gets their way.
You are right about that. Mike, thank you for the call.
Tom Leykis.
1-800-5800-TOM.
Tom Leykis.
1-800-5800-866.
What would you say to a man that did have a female friend?
I'd say you're a pussy. The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is Rick. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Rick.
Hey, I just heard this statement from the guy about the town hall meeting. That's the first time I've even heard of that. Do you think that it's a coincidence that they have this child support meeting scheduled on the same night as Monday Night Football?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, now I wonder how many guys is even going to think about going downtown.
Well, the Seahawks are not on Monday Night Football tonight, so I think everyone has an incentive to go down there and let their voice be heard on this matter.
Oh, yeah, my kid's grown up, but I'm going to go down there and let them know, like, hey, that's wrong. That's just wrong.
No doubt about it. No, that's tonight at 6:30 at Seattle Town Hall, and I haven't read this story yet, but if they're talking about making a man pay 65% of his gross income to that bitch who all she did was decided to spread her legs and get knocked up, it's time for men to speak out, and tonight would be a good place to start.
Yeah, because they're not giving it a lot of media attention around here, that's for sure.
Well, tonight, 6:30, Seattle Town Hall. What can I say?
Be there.
Thank you.
Bye.
1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Adam on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello, Adam.
Tom Leykis, how you doing?
Doing okay.
Right on, yeah. So, Boys Night Out, looking forward to it. Got my tickets already. Actually bringing my dad, who has never heard of you up until about a month ago. I brought him, now he's listening to the show every day.
Excellent.
I called in, got this girl been seeing for about a year. And, nothing serious. We're not even really thinking about marriage, but we just got on the topic one day, just see how each other stand on it. And I mentioned to her about PreNup is a must. And she threw everything at the book at me.
It's not romantic. You don't trust me.
You're setting up the relationship for
failure.
Disappointment from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, after shooting down about 10 minutes, everything she had to say, I was just like, I need to know that we're doing this for the right reason if it comes down to that,
Yes.
I was like, I need to know that if we're going to get married, if that's even a possibility. I mean, I'm only 23. I got another 3 years at least.
Uh-huh.
And I said, if it comes down to it, I want to make sure that we're getting married for the right reasons, and I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And so she said, well, yeah, I guess I can kind of see that.
Well, you marrying for love or money?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I said, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to marriage, it's got to be for love.
If she doesn't like the financial arrangement, tell her to go out and get a better job.
Yeah, or see someone else who doesn't care.
That's right.
So, well, I appreciate you taking my call, Tom.
Adam?
Take me out Enum Claw style.
Enum Claw style. Here you go. Oh, my God. Look at this. Look at this. All right, the Seattle Forum on changes to the child support schedule. We have the confirmation on this. It's tonight at the Seattle Town Hall Center. The address is 1119 8th Avenue. And it starts at 6:30. It goes on until 9 o'clock. You can get more information, including parking information, at the Town Hall Center website at townhallseattle.org. That's townhallseattle.org. So I want our boys to show up there, and I want to get a post-mortem on this meeting tonight. Do you want them to increase the child support schedule, boys? Will you be a man or a mouse? Will you stand up like a true Leykis listener tonight? Do it. For more information, 1-800-457-6202.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.